It doesn't seem like Jada Pinkett Smith can let anything go connected to the ongoing drama surrounding Will Smith and Chris Rock and everything that happened last year in 2022 at the Oscars with the whole slap situation that happened between both Rock and Smith. And we know that Jada Pinkett is overly promoting her new book Worthy as much as she can, like it's no tomorrow, to really get this book out there, to sell as many copies as possible, to get it into the hands of the public, because she feels that she needs to be understood, and she is nothing more than an attention seeker, a narcissist, and a liar. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, if there's one thing I have to say about Jada Pinkett Smith is that she really just goes all out when it comes to people that either A, mock her or call her out, or really expose her at the forefront. We know that SNL, and they mock a lot of people by the way, but SNL really took advantage of the whole Chris Rock situation with Jada Pinkett Smith and her book, really kind of creating all these revelations about her life with Will Smith, etc., etc. And she did not like that one bit, in fact, to the point that she is already in the process of taking things up with the NBC heads by calling them out on the Howard Stern show by the middle or later portion of this month. But let's get into the main subject, shall we? Now, specifically, of course, when it comes down to Pinkett Smith, she had more things to talk about when it comes to Chris Rock, and when it also comes to Chris Rock's comedy acts, and specifically everything ranging from Will Smith to how he mentioned Jada Pinkett and a whole lot more on top of that. Now, with Jada currently, of course, dealing with the ongoing drama related to her new book called Worthy, one major development has to do with Jada Pinkett Smith trashing Chris Rock yet again by delivering the following when promoting her book. I mean, for myself and my family, it was a troubling time to go through with what happened at the Oscars, for everything that happened between Will and Chris, but one thing that was completely uncalled for was how Chris not only poked fun at my condition on stage, but how he used the situation that happened on live television as a way to market his comedy tour around the country, and I just sat there and thought to myself of how low and cowardly that really was. And look, I respect Chris for trying to move on and all, but if you are going to continue to mock me as a person and what Will, of course, was actually handed to by Chris on stage, that's just attention seeking at its finest, and it's sickening coming from a comedian who has no care for my family. Again, I'm glad Chris found a place to distance himself from all this drama, and he did seemingly back off on poking fingers at me and Will on stage. But this is something that should have never been done before in the first place. To have the audacity to go on stage and use my husband as a mockery was pathetic. I remember looking back when Will did what he did, and all I could say to myself was, this was literally a joke right now. Was this written? I had no idea what was going on. Now, let me just say one thing here about Jada, guys, real fast before I move on here, is the fact that we can see that she is calling Chris an attention seeker of what he actually did by mentioning, you know, the whole Will Smith situation on stage, the whole slap situation, and kind of using that as material and really announcing that to the audience that he was going to continue to keep on using that as a comedy act. By the way, guys, that's why his shows were selling out like hotcakes. I mean, you could not buy a ticket at all. And by the way, each seat was going in the hundreds, the high hundreds, just to get a seat to see Chris Rock. And it was all because of the Oscars drama. So, look, I mean, I can understand people have different views on that. Some people may like Chris Rock for doing that. Others may be opposed to Chris Rock for taking advantage of something that happened on live television that was unscripted. Of course, people have differing opinions on that too. You know, people still to this day have different opinions on whether or not the whole Oscars situation was scripted. I don't believe it was scripted at all. That's just my take on things. I just feel that that was something that truly happened because there were a lot of people behind the scenes that worked on the Oscars presentation that had no idea what was happening. They were completely out of the loop. Even the cameramen had no idea what was going on, so nobody was really in on that. But looking at all of this, the fact that Jada is really coming out yet again, really putting Chris Rock at the forefront, in the hot seat, and at the same exact time says that she's glad that he found a place to distance himself. She's literally just dragging him back in. This is like those people that are saying like, oh, no hate against this person, but I gotta laugh about this guy, or I gotta say things about this guy. We're all familiar with who does that in this day and age, right? A lot of people do, and it's just how it works. So Jada Pinkett Smith continues. This is what my book Worthy taps into, my emotions and my personal life, and I think it's also healthy for myself to continue doing what I do best, writing my life to share with others, who may not understand the deep struggles of Hollywood and celebrity life. I think it's only fair for Chris to never mention me by name ever again, or will, or what happened. It was a cheap move on his part, and I think I deserve the chance to speak my mind through future books that I am already planning out right now. Will has moved on, and so has Chris, but people like to put the blame on me that my book is dragging those two back into that situation that have been trying to get past all of it. I didn't mean to make this any easier either, not just for me and Will, but for my children. I ask for everyone to give my story a chance. I think everyone will welcome it once you read it from a start to finish, and you will understand me better as a person for sure. I can only hope that Chris never speaks his mind about me or Will ever again, but that's just, of course, a childish act that was done. Now, here's the thing about Jada Pinkett Smith. She's already upselling her book toward the tail end of this. She's really kind of just crapping on Will Smith, or should I say Chris Rock, about what happened to Will Smith, and doing all of that nonsense. And also at the same exact time, she is literally upselling this book to kind of convince people to check it out, to really understand her as a person. She's claiming that this book is about understanding her out of the public eye, and what it's like for celebrity life in Hollywood out of the public eye and internally within your own home, and all the struggles that she has dealt with. So, again, this just goes to show you that this is another jab at Chris Rock. It's another way to kind of say, like, I'm a sorry, not sorry type of situation. That type of attitude is coming off of Jada. That's how I take things. I don't know about you guys, but that's how it comes across. You know, this was childish, this was pathetic by Chris, yada yada, but I'm also glad that he found a place to move on. And then she backtracks again and continues to trash him. So again, we all know that Will Smith is still in this marriage and seemingly forced to remain in it. That's at least how I think a lot of people out there in the public view the whole Will and Jada situation. We gotta remember that, you know, there's a lot of things that actually came out of the whole Oscars situation, and Will lost many jobs, lost many opportunities with Hollywood studios, etc. So anyway, guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.